So Joe Rogan was born in 1967 in New Jersey. Rogan's parents divorced when he was young, and he moved around frequently, eventually settling in Massachusetts as a teenager. Rogan found an outlet in martial arts, and he became a Massachusetts full contact state champion in Taekwondo at just 19. However, a growing concern about head injuries led him to reconsider his future in competitive martial arts.
It's a pretty good reason.
Yeah, I would say so. If you're banging your head up, maybe that's not quite the legacy you want to leave is, well, I was really good at Taekwondo, but now I can't think.
It's like, I didn't make it to 40 because I've got so many head injuries.
Yeah.
So it's a good reason. Interesting fact about Newark, more cars are stolen in that city than any other city in the United States. So be very careful in New Jersey.
So you're saying he grew up in a rough neighborhood? So like Joe Rogan's like he's a roughneck guy then. I guess he grew up in a rough area in New Jersey.
I don't know, I guess. I was reading the other day there was I guess in Independence, Kansas. It's like the most dangerous city in Kansas, and I've been there so many times. So like maybe it's a bad place, or maybe, you just grow up there and it's normal. So.
That's crazy because that same area, because they say Parsons, Kansas, where I grew up, is like super dangerous, like second or most dangerous place. It has a ton of crime. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, we have a state hospital. I mean, if you're counting all that, all the mess that goes on with them, like, yeah, we're probably pretty dangerous. But I feel like if I don't know. I was fine. I grew up fine. But anyways, back to the story. Joe Rogan's legacy and his story going on. One of the interesting things I found, and I couldn't find if it was absolutely 100% factual, but I'm going to use it, but I could be wrong on this. I know he did quit college, and I think the reason he pretty much quit college was he found it pointless. It was not satisfactory to him at all. I think, and I'm saying I think, so don't quote me on this, but I think he also quit high school. I could be wrong on that. I think he got a GED. That's what I was looking at. But you were saying before we started, a lot of people quit high school because it's pointless, and I think there's a lot to that to unpack. That not saying it's pointless, but just that it's not for everybody. Like the education system isn't for everybody, and sometimes it holds a lot of people back from becoming the best that they can be. And
I think it's interesting that like the reason was that he found it pointless, right? You have to be kind of independent thinking to quit college because you found it pointless, right? Because like there are people that like go to college so you can get this job, right? But he quit college because it's like, So I don't know. I feel like the reason behind it is a little interesting. Because maybe that kind of just says that he was thinking for himself, right, at that period in his life, rather than having that mob culture of you have to go to college or your life will never be anything, right?
Yeah. Well, I've met quite a few. I say quite a few, like three. I met 3 millionaires that, and they're still growing. But they super successful, never graduated high school, never went to college. And so that being said, doesn't necessarily make them super smart, but they were definitely smart enough to be economically set. So,
Right.
But no, I think Joe Rogan actually talked a little bit about his dissatisfaction with the traditional schooling model. I think he referred to it as like just more about memorization and conformity, rather than you're fostering critical thinking and mindset. And so, anyways, transitioning from martial arts, Rogan explored stand-up comedy. He began performing at comedy clubs in the Boston area in the late 1980s. In 1994, he moved to Los Angeles, a pivotal move that expanded his career. Rogan landed his first national television spot with the role in the sitcom News Radio, playing Joe Gorelli in an electrician and handyman at the show's fictional news radio station. The show was on the brink of cancellation every season that it was on, which is an interesting fact to know about that.
Yeah, I was looking at the cover of that show, and it looks it looks like something you'd watch after you watch the show Friends, you know? So I was like, wait, Joe Rogan did this? It's kind of weird, but it's cool, you know? It's like one little step after another, right?
Yeah, I've never personally seen the show. I'm way too young for that. No, no, I've never seen the show. What I did watch though was some of his old stand-up comedy, which some of it was decent. It was funny, but yeah, it's step by step, like you said, slowly getting to where you're supposed to be. Um, as Rogan's career in entertainment evolved, so did his interests and endeavors. He started working with Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC, as a backstage and post-fight interviewer. He later became a color commentator for the UFC, a role in which he gained widespread recognition for his knowledgeable and enthusiastic commentary. The
Which I'm
UFC
pretty sure
programming. Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that, you know, you've seen that GIF where Joe Rogan goes like, ah, you know, and
Yeah.
he's like holds the people next to him. I believe that was from that, right? Doing UFC, right?
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I know
Yeah,
what you're
where
talking
he just
about.
like holds them and he just looks and his eyes are just huge. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah,
what that is.
yeah,
That
from
was
him and
from.
Sutton. Yeah, it was always fun watching. He did definitely make watching UFC so much funner. Um, I wasn't like huge into it at first, but when he started doing it, he was a very exciting. He excited his the character there, and
Yeah, the
so he did
energy.
really good at that. Yeah, brought the energy, and so
I feel like this also probably, I know this is what you're about to say, but like the UFC is broadcasted to 1.1 billion TV households worldwide, right? So like if you want a platform to kind of build off of, the UFC is that one, right? You know? So if you want to start your own thing after that, it'd be pretty easy because everyone knows you.
right.
Well, a seventh of the world knows you.
Yeah, you know it like you do it long enough, and then yeah, everybody recognizes your face. They know who you are. Um, he actually played in a movie. What was that movie? School teacher goes starts doing UFC or martial arts, and I can't remember what movie that is.
Hmm.
Actor's name is skipping on me. Anyways, but it was in 2009 that he would start podcasting. The podcast originally began when Rogan hired Brian Redban, a self-taught video editor, to work for him full-time to film, produce, and edit videos for his website, following Rogan with a camera and recording everything. After several years, Redban noticed that fans were demanding an increasing amount of content from Rogan and for it to be delivered faster. So this prompted the two to seek new ways of quickening what was a lengthy editing process to make their website and content more interactive. And you know a whole lot more about that than I do.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's interesting because like I know Gary Vaynerchuk does the same sort of thing where he just has I think it might be D-Rock still, and maybe someone else that just follows him around with the camera and just creates content for him. And then like people consume Gary Vaynerchuk's content like drugs. I don't know. I know I watch it a lot. So yeah. So anyways.
I like how you put that though. Like he has a guy following around on the street creating content, and then you're like, people consume him like drugs. It's like there's a lot of street talk in there to unpack. Sounds like Gary's got a guy that's creating something that then sells it on the street to people who who are addicts.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Gotcha.
No,
Gary
it's just
is
like
not a drug dealer.
cult following.
Yeah.
It's a cult following, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh no, I watched some of his stuff. Some of his stuff was really cool. Was he the guy? I think he was the guy that went and like bought. He went to a garage sale or something.
Yeah.
And bought salt shakers and then turned around and sold them on like eBay for like 10 times the price.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, that's something he would do. Yeah,
I think that's hilarious. I'm pretty sure that was him. But anyways, back to Joe Rogan here. Coupled with his interest in popular live video streaming services of the time, Red Band wanted to do the same thing. I was filming, but live, and set up live streams on Justin.tv from the green room at Rogan's various comedy gigs. After some time on Justin TV, Rogan suggested the idea of hosting a live video stream with Red Band from his home and interacting with fans in a chat room and on Twitter, with the audio portion released as a downloadable podcast. Cool fact about Justin TV, it was red branded to Twitch and now is owned by Amazon. So Rogan was extremely early. Rogan was what's that?
No, if you want to talk about like being early to platforms, like Joe Rogan was early to Justin or to Twitch. You've seen Twitch, right? Streaming platform. Yeah, so that was Justin TV apparently, and then it rebranded to Twitch, and now it's owned by and Amazon recently bought it. But like, if you want to talk about being early and just finding the opportunity, like the opportunity comes along while you're doing your thing, right? And so being early to Twitch, being early to Justin TV, turning into Twitch, that is the perfect example of just like starting something and then finding an opportunity and then taking it, right? So anyway.
Yeah. I mean, like, especially like since he had no idea how much it was going to grow, or even like today, because I know today he's like mass. I don't know if he's number one, but I'm sure he's close to number one podcasters listen to. But yeah, just being consistent and continuing every single day and making videos and working, doing the podcast. It's kind of like what we're doing, just consistency, and maybe one day there'll be that opportunity and boom. But actually I watched one of his videos, one of his very like first podcast videos from home. Right? I don't know if it was first one, but it was one of his. It's really freaking old. And he was like he was watching it, and at that time I think you could look at how many people were watching you, and he was like, oh, only 10 people are watching me. He was like, nobody's gonna watch this. It's like, this is just gonna be. He was a little negative, like, but it was all good. That's just Joe Rogan. But he was like, this isn't gonna get like that much huge. And then like I think it was a couple seconds later, he looked and he was like, oh shit, there's 113 people watching. He was like, this is like a comedy club gig now. It's like now the pressure is on. And so but that was one of his first videos. He didn't have like a whole bunch of people watch. I think it was live too. But well, yeah, it would have been live. But anyways, so yeah, just keep going. But Rogan was influenced by the open discussion style from appearing on Opie and Anthony and the live Ustream show that co-host Anthony, I'm not gonna pronounce his last name right, Kumiya did from his basement studio, live from the compound. So the first episode aired live on December 24th, 2009.
So it's 14 years, right? Well,
Yep.
15. Yeah.
Oh,
Going to be going on 15 years.
Let's do
That's
it.
a pretty interesting journey, man. I mean, born 1967, which, holy crap. He's been around a while. And then, you know, now to where he's at now, it's awesome. It's a cool journey. And I think what's really interesting about it is just like finding each, you know, like just starting, right? And then finding each new thing that you're interested in and then pursuing it and then taking the opportunities that you see in your path. I think that's pretty cool about him. And which I think that's going to be consistent with a lot of the people that we talk about in the future episodes. So.
Yeah, I think one thing that I really think it is like you look at his life and you look at everything he did it completely opposite of what like it seems like, I'm not gonna say it too harshly, but it seems like society says this is the way to be successful and this is the way. And it's like, well, that's not the way for everybody. And so Joe Rogan's definitely one of those characters that you can look at and go, yeah, there's proof right there that that's not the way for everybody. He didn't like the school system. He said, screw college. He went off. He's not, but like, you know, he's not a doctor, he's not a lawyer, you know, but he's a pretty intelligent guy. I mean, from the people that he has on his show now, which I watch here and there, it's like some of them are like, I'm like sitting there watching, I'm like, my brain would have already exploded from some of the guests, like trying to ask them questions, and Joe Rogan's just like nailing them with the questions. Yeah, he's a very intelligent dude.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right on the not doing things the societal as a societal norm, right? Taking the normal path. I like that story, man. I'm looking forward to doing another one next week. So,
Well, that's your story of Joe Rogan so far.